Trayer Wilderness. I hope you guys are doing well today. We have some fabulous things to cover today, and I'm really excited. Just as I went live, the sun started coming out, which is a huge blessing when you live off the grid. We are off grid, and it's been pretty dreary the last couple days, so our power has been at a bit of a deficit, if you will, but it's the sun's peeking out, so this is my saving grace. We've been having some really good, relaxing days here on the homestead with the weather being what it has been. We went from like 90-degree tank top and short weather to turtleneck sweaters and heavy socks and boots. It's crazy. This weather is just bizarre. I know Tammy and Kelly in Montana got snow, so weather is just bizarre. We've been getting a lot of heavy winds too, so it's kind of kept us inside, but we've had some projects to do, and God has been divinely implanting ideas for me, so I am like super excited. I just realized something. I'm gonna switch screens because I almost started messing with the screen there, and I remembered that I need to go onto the app so I can see the messages and commenting on there. So let's see what's going on here. So who's joining me, and where are you guys joining me from? I'm not seeing any comments yet. And where are you guys? Ooh, I see Miss Carol. Okay. I'm not seeing any comments yet. There we go. Miss Carol's in the house. How are you, Miss Carol? How is the family? Praying for you guys. Okay, this is awesome. So I've got the chat on my screen, and I've got today's notes on the screen. Today's an interesting topic. It was really inspired by a couple things, and I'm stealing a friend's verbiage, you could say, on our current circumstances and situations in our country. I don't know about you guys. It's definitely a disturbing matter when you look at the things that are going on all over the world and in our country, and just the mayhem and the chaos definitely causes us to be making decisions on where we stand. And I think that that is extremely important. There's just a lot of baloney, and you know, we've got to decide what we're willing to put up with and what we're willing to cave on as well. And it's just been something that I've been thinking about a lot over the last several days. And our dear friend Pat shared this with me the other day, and I just thought this was so fabulous. Today's title, part of the title, is I Am a Woman of Color. I am. My husband would certainly say that I'm colorful. But the reason I say that is because we are all like a box of crayons. We are all different shades, all different colors, but we're from the same box. We're from the same Father. We all have talents. We all complement each other. And we're in that crayon box together. Are you guys following me on this analogy? I love it. I absolutely love it. I am a woman of color. And there's many other colors in that crayon box. You know, I don't see color. I love everybody. And we've talked about that before. I don't love their sin, maybe, but I love the people. And I just really love that analogy because there's so much baloney going on in the media, and still so much being pushed with the Black Lives Matter and so many other avenues there. And, you know, all lives matter. All color matters. And like I said, we're all in that crayon box together. We all complement one another, and we're all meant to be on this earth together. And not one crayon in that box is any better than another. You know, and we all have the same opportunities. We all have different abilities that enable us to do things, but we all have the same opportunities. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today, because that was something that was spoken to me that just really resonated and was very powerful. And I think it's a great, great way to view things. You know, there's just so many, there's just some, I'm not even going to finish that statement. But anyway, I see you guys joining. Hello, Miss Jane. Hello, Chad. Chad says hello all. Just want to stop by and tell you all hello and God bless you. Got to go back to work. Much love from Utah. Love you, brother. Thanks for popping in. And thank you for blessing us. Hello, Miss Shelley. Everybody's saying hello to Chad and each other. Miss Toyka says, howdy, friends. Totally liking the crayon analogy. Is that not awesome, Toyka? I just love that. That just totally resonated with me. One of the reasons, it was really crazy because it really stood out to me. And then I was reviewing something this weekend and somebody got, in reviewing what I was reviewing, somebody got really kind of tooty and mouthy about the Black Lives Matter. And, you know, it just really boils down that all lives matter. And that crayon analogy really put it together. And, you know, it just needed to be shared today. That's how I felt about it. So that's why I shared it. Because, you know, through all of this, you know, there's been a lot of people of color, whether white, brown, black, yellow, whatever, being hurt through all this going on in our country, you know, and when we look at it from the perspective of the crayon box, I just think it makes so much more sense. And truly, I just believe all lives matter. So anyway, I put that out there today because I really like the analogy. And I just wanted to remind everybody that, you know, that's where things are. And our society, there's so much division, you know, and watching the varying things that we have been recently, you know, there's still so much division, and it's just disturbing to watch. So the second half of the title today is that I wish to be known by what I stand for, not what I'm against. And you all know what I stand for. I stand for Jesus. I stand for loving on one another. And I stand for screaming that from the mountaintops. We have a lot of chaos and turmoil and craziness going on in our country right now. No matter which direction you turn, there's something in your face. But, you know, when we wholeheartedly decide to make the decision to follow Jesus, there is a great peace and comfort in that, and that is where all the answers are. So God has been dumping, and I mean dumping, divinely dumping ideas in my brain. Yesterday, I couldn't write or type fast enough, and it's been happening for the last 3 days. It all correlates together, what he's been providing me, and it is just incredibly, insanely amazing. And I can't tell you about it yet because it's all stuff that I need to put together so that I can then show you. But I'm really, really excited. And you know, what is happening with me and the divine intervention is a result of my walk with him. The deeper you get, the more involved it gets. And it's really amazing. It's really amazing. So with that being said, I want to ask you guys what your praises are for today and how we can be praying for you. And what are some of the things you guys are personally struggling with right now? Whether it's something in the news, whether it's something in your life. If you're willing to share, share it. If you're watching the replay, share also, because we still follow and maintain the comments. So please, please let us know. And we encourage you to like, share, subscribe, turn on all the notifications so you know when we're going live, because we do live videos on Mondays and Thursdays. Monday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. And leave your comments, your questions, your prayers, your praises. We love to hear from you. We love to know how we are benefiting you. We also love to know how we can further benefit you. So don't hesitate to leave those things in the comments or in the feed from the live. So let me see here. Yep, exactly, Toika. There are forces trying to separate us and pit one against another. Dividing is their goal, causing fear, rejection, hurt egos, anger, and bitterness. Yeah, it's just insane. I mean, if we just sat and watched everything that's coming in our faces right now, it's devastation, and it's just terrible. You know, the amount of positivity compared to the amount of negative is just disturbing. And the other thing is, there's an agenda. And I'm going to share some stuff in our community a little later that's been really on my heart. So if you're part of the community, make sure you go over there and check it out later. I might talk about it then on here. I'm debating whether I want to even go that route. But for right now, I'm going to post it in the community because my heart is there. My heart is to help and save. My heart is to share what I know. And that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, and you know, I'm a very positive person. You know that I focus on the positive. You know that I redirect myself to the positive. And it's just been pretty insane seeing all the things. And you know, we are so limited. We don't have TV. We don't have radio. You know, what we listen to and what we watch is by choice. What we research and such is by choice. And what we follow is by choice. And even in those wholesome arenas, you know, that are sharing really what's happening, it's incredible. And I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, but I know for a fact that you guys are being flooded so much more than we are. And I know how it makes me feel. I'm sure I can only imagine how it makes you guys feel. So Jane says, praise is number one. An organic plant sale led me to a naturopathic person who is going to see me. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Are they right there in your area? And number two, Deb was here today. Love my sister. I knew you guys would have such a good time. I was saying prayers and major praises. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't know if Deb would make it on, and I was giving you that opportunity because my praise is to see how our community is connecting outside of this screen. And that is just fabulous to me. Not only, you know, personal connections, in-person connections, but also, you know, online connections where there's lots of emailing and communication going on because everybody is just so like-minded. It is just so amazing. I'm just so excited. So Shelley says, this is one thing I hate is what you are saying, Toika, dividing those who love all by putting all this in the news and making it a priority in everyone's eyes. Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much being shoved down our throats. And and that's part of the agenda. It's wrong. But we have the ability to filter, just like our search engines do, just like all our screens, anything we're searching gives us the opportunity. You guys know it as well as I do, to filter what we're looking at and to filter things down. So we got to remember, woo, doggy, your breath stinks. The old boy's breath is, anyway, sorry. We have the ability to filter stuff out. And we need to do that. But what I'm finding is, and that's why I wanted to talk about this today, is no matter how much filtering we do, it is in our faces. It is just in our faces. And one of the things that you guys always hear me saying is by pulling Jesus in, we are filtering the rest out. I mean, I don't say it that way, but there's your good analogy for today. When we pull Jesus in, we are filtering the garbage out. And we need to remember that. And we need to keep our focus on him. We need to keep pulling into him. We need to allow him to grow us. We need to allow him to call us out where we need calling out, and we need to stand strong in what we believe in. Like I said, I want to be known for what I believe in, not for what I'm against. And if we sit here and complain and fuss about what we're against rather than just focusing on what we're for, we're not doing ourselves any favors. And the more we connect with people, the more we fellowship, the more renewal we have, and the more we keep the enemy out. And you know, I'm seeing that so much with what we are doing here. And like even with Austin, you know, poor Austin, God bless his heart. He is just so steadfast in his schooling, and just, I mean, his feet hit the floor, he starts, and he doesn't go to bed till the wee hours of the morning, and he's just steadfast. And you know, so often we do that too. We get so steadfast and stuck in what we're mesmerized in and what we're being drawn into, and we don't take the time or know how to or choose not to renew ourselves. And that renewing is what empowers us to be strong in being known for what we stand for. It helps us to be strong, to be able to filter this crap out. So I don't know, this has been on my heart for 3 days, so it's coming out pretty in your face today, and I'm sorry about that. But it's just been something that I'm seeing so much. Carol says, oh, wow, Jane, both things are awesome. Yeah, that was just so cool. Deb messaged me yesterday to ask me to connect her with Jane in the event that they might be able to connect. And sure enough, I was just so excited. Jane says, yes, she went to our church years ago. Oh, how funny is that? How funny is that? And you guys didn't know each other then? Oh, that's so funny. Shelly says, we got a new to us washing machine so that both our machines will be front loading. It is not in the house, but it is home. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's a good praise. Being able to wash our clothes and not by hand is always nice. Being able to fall back on other things is also nice, but that's fabulous. Jane says, we ate dark chocolate, had a cup of joe, and tried to squeeze our stories into 4 hours. To be continued, I'm sure. Yeah, no kidding. Like 4 hours is enough, right? But that's fantastic. And I'm not surprised by the dark chocolate and the joe. No way. I would have been right there with you, and I was invited to be there, and I so wished I could have been. I was very ecstatic about the invitation, but I couldn't make it there today. So thank you. And I'm so glad you guys connected. That just makes my heart sing to see the connections that are happening. So keep it up, guys. You guys have a lot to offer one another. Carol says, that's awesome, Shelly. And that's cool, Jane, she says. And Shelly says, praise. I found an app on my phone last week and decided to look into. That's really funny that you found this app. Duolingo, and I've decided to learn Dutch. My family came from Holland and spoke Fries, but they do not teach that. That's so cool. And why I'm laughing is because this past week we had the opportunity. Remember Monday, I blew you guys off so that I could spend time with some friends, and the week ended up being an entire week like that. We had dinner with them Tuesday night, saw them throughout, you know, the rest of the week, and then Friday we did our most important stuff, and then spent the rest of the day Friday up there with them, just hanging out. And it just felt so nice because these are people we don't get to see often. And I'm going to rephrase something. A couple weeks ago, somebody asked where my in-laws were staying, and I said they were staying at our friend George and Gudrun's, and that we viewed them as grandparents. So I need to reframe that, because this is why I said that. They are like an extra set of parents. I said grandparents because in my mind we have the parents. My grandparents aren't living, and I miss them, and they were kind of filling that void for me, but they're my parents' age. So poor George, I called him a grandpa, and that wasn't very nice of me. So they're like an extra set of parents. But while we were down there visiting, one of their friends is doing the Duolingo, and she's learning Spanish. So I downloaded that app on my phone because I am of German descent. So is the mountain man. So is the mountain boy. So we've all been learning German throughout the years, but I would also love to know Spanish, and I had been learning Chinese when I was in high school. So I would love to play around with that, and just it's great for your brain. It's a great way to, and it's just a great thing to have. When you can be multilingual, that's awesome. So I just think that's funny, and it's a great filler for nurturing your brain and nurturing yourself. My friend that is doing it said that it's just her place to go when she needs like renewal and like to just let her brain release, kind of. So she goes in there and does a couple lessons. So that's pretty cool. Jane says the naturopathic used to attend our church. Oh. So sorry. Okay, I got you. Gotcha. We'll have an overnighter here towards fall. Oh, that's very cool. That sounds dangerous. That sounds dangerous. Well, you guys will have to, if you're gonna do that, you guys are gonna have to come and spend time by the fire. That would be so much fun. So Shelley says Fries is a Dutch German dialect. Friesland is the northern province of Holland. Okay, awesome. Yeah, for us, we have Pennsylvania Dutch in our blood. So my dad didn't know how to speak anything but Pennsylvania Dutch till he was in first grade, I think. So pretty interesting. It's very close to German, just a little bit of a different dialect there too. But I love learning new languages. I love learning new things. Oh my goodness. Yesterday and Saturday, I was just a sponge to my machine. God, like I said, God's been leading me down a path. I've been doing a lot of research on a lot of different things, a lot of neuroplasticity training and research. I'm really delving in, and I'm also delving in on some ways to aid our audience in some things. So it's been pretty awesome, and I love going down that trail of knowledge. It blows me away. I don't know what I would do without Evernote, because that's like where I store everything to refer back to. You know, when you start researching things and you find all this stuff, you don't always recall where you found it. You can't always refer back to your history and your browsers. So I store everything on my Evernote. So if you guys are not familiar with Evernote, you can check that out. And I know in the description below is a list of all the apps I use for keeping organized, but Evernote is one of them. And you can go to trayerwilderness.com/Evernote. It syncs with your iPad, your iPhone, and your desktop or laptop. So Mac as well. So fabulous software. I don't know what I would do without it. So let me see here. Duolingo also makes you say it into the phone. There are friendly competitions and you win gems, etc. Oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't messed with it yet. I just downloaded it. God, like I said, God's been implanting ideas and information. My head's been spinning, but I'm definitely going to check it out. How many of you guys, this is just an off the cuff question. How many of you guys like to play Scrabble? Scrabble is one of my favorite games to play, and I used to play it as a kid. I was always very good with spelling, and so I enjoyed that game a lot, and I have not found anybody in my adult life that enjoys playing it, other than a couple of, oh, cool. Jane says she does, and she says, I do, in lots of long letters, so that's good, because up until this weekend, some of the people that we were visiting with like to play it too, but that's the first in my adult life that I found anybody else that likes to play Scrabble. That's one thing I used to play with one of my grandmothers, and my family was Scrabble. I absolutely love that. So I was just curious. I was scrolling down through things, and I don't know, that popped in my mind. So very cool. So we'll have to have some Scrabble matches and fire time then. I wanted to also mention, and there's going to be a lot of links coming up. If you are part of our community, I am sharing a lot of different things in there regarding discounts that you can get because of us, special summits that are running, things that I am attending that I feel will be beneficial to you guys, things that I use that I feel will be beneficial to you guys. So that's going to be continuing and ongoing. So that's also a bonus of being in the community. One thing I do want to mention today is that Rocky Mountain Oils is having a sale, and they're having a clearance sale, and they're having double points. So you can check that out by going to trayerwilderness.com/oils, and you can partake on that. And I encourage you to check out all the links down below. There's a lot of different summits. Some have ended, but you can still access their information. And like I said, all of my apps that I use to keep track of things in my day-to-day and in my businesses are down below, as well as the Bibles, study Bibles that we use. And there's some books. If you guys have not started reading Millie Copper's series, you guys have got to get involved in that. TrayerWilderness.com/Millie Copper, MILLIECOPPER. Another book series that I'm reading right now is by the same author of the book that I'm reading in the Kids Corner. We are reading Lost on Hope Island. We are on book 2. And it is by Patricia Harmon. Patricia Harmon was a midwife, and she writes books on the midwifery. And I didn't know that it would be something that I would be drawn to or not, but I thought I would give that series of hers a try. And it's based back in the early 1900s. And it's just, I think that's what makes it so much fun for me to read it. A lot of it pertains to even some of the things, like the midwife didn't have a car, so she had to use a horse or walk, or it's been really interesting just to read. So I wanted to mention that today. If you guys are looking for books to read, you might enjoy that series as well. And you can find her by going to TrayerWilderness.com/ now wait, I gotta think, Hope Island. That'll take you to her Hope Island book, and then you can find the rest of her books that way. But she's fabulous. And if you guys have kids or know people that would enjoy participating, we do the Kids Corner every Friday, and I'm reading a chapter or 2 of the book to the kids, and we discuss it and go over it. And it's a book on self-reliance. It's being stuck on an island and what they had there to work with, and how they've used it, and how they've been, used their creativity and so forth. So it's a really good time. So if you know anybody, you can go to TrayerWilderness.com/Kids Corner, and they will be meeting the author in the next couple weeks. So they get to actually talk to her and ask her questions and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. I think Jane said, are they on Audible? Yes, they are. So you can check those out as well. Let me see here. Jane says, I play Chris online. I'll have to check it out. She says it's similar to Scrabble. Awesome. I like challenging my brain. I am one of those that when I'm sitting still, I don't do that very well. So doing something to challenge my brain is always good. That's what's helped me to regain it. So Shelley says, my grandmother would always win. She lived in Holland until she was 42 and did not speak any English when they moved here. She learned English by reading the Bible and the dictionary. Oh, that is fabulous. That is fabulous. One of the things I like when I'm reading books is when people use these really unusual words. A lot of people are using the thesaurus, and finding words that are similar and using them. And, some of them I don't know sometimes. So I have it set up so that in my Kindle, I can look it up. I love learning those things. I love learning those new words and the meanings behind them. So that is, I bet she always won. That's fabulous. Yeah, right, Jane? She says, Shelley, it's so neat. That is really cool. Shelley says, I'm awaiting the next book, which is an offshoot from her other series, looking into the group that left to find some family. Yeah, Millie is amazing. I told you, Millie is my hero. She just blows me away how she has written so many books in such a short period of time. But the content and just the allure, I mean, she just draws you in. I'm having the same problem with Patricia's books. I can't put them down. And I like that. I like when I get taken away in a book. And when I have a few minutes, that's what I enjoy spending my time doing. So reading is a powerful tool. I mean, I do a lot of research reading. I do a lot of educational reading. Like I said, I'm reading about neuroplasticity. If you would have asked me in my 20s if I would ever be reading books like that, I would have told you no way. But I am like digging deep into the medical aspect of things, and I love it. I am like so mesmerized by it. But reading all types of things is so beneficial. So, so Jane did ask if the books by Patricia Harmon are on Audible, and yes, some of them are. I don't know if all of them are. I don't believe. You'll have to look, but if you use that link, TrayerWilderness.com/Hope Island, it'll take you to that book, and you'll be able to find all the rest of hers via that one. She's a great author and a neat lady, really neat lady. She's done a lot in her life. All right, so I have some reading materials for you guys today. I'm going to read to you today. Let me see here. All right. And keep sharing. By the way, if you guys have questions of any kind, or there's a subject you want to learn, or you want to know how we do something specific here, if you're going off grid or you're homesteading or something and you want to know how we do something, we would be thrilled to share that information. It's always helpful to get, you know, your feedback of the things you're looking for, the things that feed you guys. So don't hesitate to ask us questions. Don't hesitate to mention topics that you're interested in, because some we may have already put out there, others we may be working on, and we've got so many videos right now. It's amazing. I'm so thankful for that. We've been busy behind the scenes. Shelley says, I read a lot of Amish romance and mystery. The Dutch will help me understand some of the words better. They do give you a list at the beginning, but on Kindle it is hard to flip back and forth. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. And I do like reading the Amish romance and mystery books too. I'm trying to think of, Shelley, share the author you read, because I know it's the same one I do, and I am like totally drawing a blank. I want to say Pamela, but that doesn't seem right. My brain is disconnecting. All right, so I'm going to read something to you here. This is Psalms 115:12. The Lord has been mindful of us. He will bless us. Do you guys believe that? Share your thoughts on that. Do you truly believe that God will bless you and that you're worthy of his blessings? I would love to hear your feedback on that. I most certainly do. I have seen God's hand in so much of our lives. I'm just curious your take on that. All right, so how much time do you spend worrying about things that usually never happen? You can answer that question too, if you would, because many do. Be honest. And has anything improved as a result of your worrying about it? Of course not. Paul writes, the Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. That's Philippians 4:5-6, just so you know. It's worth highlighting. He then encourages us by saying that when we do this, the peace of God will fill our hearts and our minds. That's Philippians 4:7. So highlight that whole section in Bible.com in your app. The instant you begin to worry or feel anxious about something, take your concern to God in prayer. Release the weight of it and totally trust him to either show you what to do or show you that he will take care of it himself. Prayer is powerful against worry. When you're feeling pressure, it's always best to pray about it instead of fretting and talking about it. Will this be easy to do? No. If you've worried all your life, then worry has become a habit, but you can break it. And you can simply break it by throwing that habit out the door and replacing it with constantly turning to prayer. But with commitment, perseverance, and God's help, you can conquer worry. Here are 2 keys to doing it. Whoop. Sorry, guys. There we go. 1, instead of trying to get rid of your negative thoughts, which only keeps you focused on them, fill your mind with positive thoughts. You've heard me doing that and telling you that. Scriptural ones, it adds. 2, take action quickly. As soon as you begin to worry, say, no, I'm not going to worry about this because it does no good. You may wonder, but who's going to take care of the problem? God. His word says the Lord has been mindful of us. He will bless us. Prayer is powerful against worry. So here's another one. I just want to see something a second. Okay. So these kind of go hand in hand then, but let me go back and see what your comments are here. Jane says, oh yes, I'm blessed and feel not worthy at times of his many blessings at times. I'm sure we all do, due to circumstances, but I think when we all look at it and really analyze things and really pay attention to what's happening in our lives, we do realize that we're blessed. And, you know, we have to realize that we are worthy, and he wouldn't be blessing us if he didn't feel so. So that's our take on ourselves, and we need to remember that. But we all do it. Yes, Beverly Lewis is the one, and Wanda Brewstetter. Thank you. Shelley shared the different authors: Beverly Lewis, Wanda Brewstetter, Samantha Rice, Charlotte Hubbard, and many more. The first two are the ones I've read and really, really enjoy. Hello, Keith. Keith is in the house. Greetings from New Zealand. He says, hello all. Just watching the last of my monarchs emerge and fly away. Keith, you have to be one of the most fascinating people I've ever had communications with. You do the coolest stuff. You do the coolest stuff. You have joined our community, so I would love to see pictures of the of such things. That is just so cool. That is so cool, right, Jane? Jane says, Keith, how great. I want to raise them. I just think that's awesome. And Keith shared last week about some of the stuff that he's done with bees and the research he's done. That is just outstanding. So be sure to go over to the community, Keith, and share some of the pictures. I know these guys would love to see it. I would. So, and I'm glad you're on here. Shelley says, Keith, pictures, please. That is just so awesome. That is so awesome. I am so fascinated by butterflies and also dragonflies. Dragonflies are my thing. I love watching dragonflies and hummingbirds. I just think that nature is so amazing. Nature is just so amazing. We've been blessed to be in an amazing place here. We watch eagles pretty much all day long. It's just been amazing. There must be some nests right here because we've been seeing balds and goldens on a very regular basis. Jane says, a friend does that in Maryland. I bought a bee house for my garden. Very awesome. I told you guys I'm getting bees. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be getting my bees. I'm so excited. Jane says she planted milkweed. Awesome. Well, my whole herbal garden will be... Oh, and Keith, thanks for the mention on the acid. Keith mentioned to be careful with pine trees, and he's so right. We are completely and totally surrounded by pine trees. So I am going to continue to put my flower garden with the pine trees surrounding it, but I'm bringing in soil, and I'm going to be checking my soil and also planting things to help with the acid. But he's very right. Pine trees create high acid content in the soil. So he mentioned about not, when you're going to do a garden or anything like that, not to plant where there's pine trees. So if you're not aware of that and you're not aware of what you can do and things you can do, it's really wise not to plant by them. Our soil out here, like the property we live on now and the property that we had before, they were overgrown wilderness. They've been logged and relogged. You know, there's been years of growth. So the soil out here is really, it's very clay based, and there's just a lot of acid in the soil. So there's definitely the need to add nutrients to it. A lot of manure, and just checking the pH. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure Keith will hopefully chime in, if I understand it right, blueberries do need acid, and you've got to watch the blueberries too. We had them before, and I'm trying to remember what we did with the blueberries. But anyway, I love learning that information, and it's always useful when people share that information on our comments, because a lot of other people don't realize that. And I try to mention everything that we're doing out here and why we're doing it and what we've learned. But when you guys have insight and information, don't hesitate to share. I just think it's fabulous. And like I said, I've loved that Keith has been sharing his information. He just sounds like he has lived a very fascinating life. And Keith, I have to ask this, and it's up to you if you're willing to answer, but how old are you? Because you are so knowledgeable. And I love that. So Jane says lots of hawks here the past few weeks. All the neighbors' cats are missing. Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, we have a lot of hawks here too, but the eagles, well, yesterday the mountain man went for a walk and he said the eagle was just right over his head and it just kept circling. And I said it kept determining whether it felt you were something he could pick up or not. They're big, they're massive. When you see the next devotional that I put online, it is my video with the eagles. And you'll see at the very end just how big they are. And that still doesn't really give you a good indication, but they're massive. Their wingspan is just massive. So I want to read this one to you guys too. Matthew 11:30. Learn to live freely and lightly. Now, if you look that up out in the King James Version, it's going to be very different. That is from the Message. I think the Message is fun to read. One thing I do like about the King, I like being able to refer to a verse and to its original sentiments. So I might use other versions, but I always like when I use stuff, I always go back to the King James Version. And the Message, I love how Todd White put it. Todd White said that the Message is like reading a modern day Bible that's like, hey, dude, you know, and it's really what it's like. The Message is written in a very, to me, comical way, but it gets a point across to people. So I'm excited about that. But again, Matthew 11:30, learn to live freely and lightly. Jesus said, I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Note the words, I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. It's good to know we don't have to worry about things, figure everything out, or carry the burdens in our lives. It can actually be quite refreshing to realize that we don't need to know everything about everything. We need to get comfortable saying, I don't know the answer to this predicament, and I'm not going to worry about it because God's in control. And I trust him. I'm going to relax in him and live freely and lightly. When we're overburdened with the cares of life, struggling, laboring, and worrying, we need a mental and emotional break. Our minds need to rest from thinking about resolving problems, and our emotions need to rest from being upset. Worry robs us of rest and its benefits. So the next time you find yourself worried and anxious, remember you can live freely and lightly. All you have to do is rest in the assurance of God. Oh, wait. All you have to do is rest in the assurance of God's love, provision, and guidance. If someone asks you what you're going to do about your problem, tell them you're not thinking about it right now. If they ask you why, tell them you've turned it over to God and you're trusting him to work it out for you. Those last two lines are just so powerful. I'm going to read them again. If someone asks you what you're going to do about your problem, tell them you're not thinking about it right now. You know, when you tell the average person that, they're going to be like, but this is a big thing. Why aren't you thinking about it? If they ask you why, tell them you've turned it over to God and you're trusting him to work it out for you. And again, that will be another something that's being received in a flabbergasted way because most people don't function that way. Most people feel that they've got to control everything. They've got to worry about everything. They've got to sweat over everything. And you know what? When you give it to God and you trust God for the outcome, it's going to be amazing. It may not be how you wished it to come out, but it's going to be amazing. And he always works it out. Oh, I just saw your name pop up on my screen, Mr. Terry Perry. You have been heavy on my heart. I'm so glad to see you're here. He says, good afternoon, my friend. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying your beautiful part of the country. How are you? You've been so heavy on my mind. And where are you? I hope you're doing well. We've missed you. All right, let me see here. Oh, I just saw Jane's message. The message is the book. I love it. That's so funny. It's exactly it. It's the book. Let me see here. I know I'm missing a couple things. Shelley says, we have 4 cats and they like to bring us presents. Presents are good. That means they're hunting, so that's a good thing. Jane says, so excited. I bought a fig tree, lemon and lime, planting them in pots for my south deck, and I will bring in for the winter. I actually, funny you should say that. I ran out of plant pots because I gave all mine away when I moved, so I've used our soup mugs. But this right here is a lemon plant, and so is this one here. So I'm like super excited. So yes, getting ourselves hooked up with trees that are going to provide what we need. We have 2 plum trees in right now. We'll have the 2 lemon trees. I'm working on avocado plants myself, trying to get them to sprout. And then we want to get a bunch of apple trees and peaches. So we want to be able to get the trees in the holes we dug real soon here, and get that going. But that's awesome. That is so, so awesome. Having what we need to continue to provide for ourselves is really important. So having a food garden, whether it is fruit or vegetables, is extremely important. Like I said, I can't wait to get our greenhouse in. That's going to be a little longer down the road. We got some of the supplies. Oh my goodness, guys. We bid a job for the construction business, and oh my, it probably just froze. I had a call come in. So I didn't say anything so that you didn't miss anything. Oh, I don't think so. I just saw what Keith said. Oh, I'm making the screen click. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to break that habit. So I'm using my iPad. So forgive me. All right. So let me go back here. Jane says, my collie used to leave presents on my front step, the rat kind. Oh, from the granary on the farm. Yuck. Rats are just one nasty looking animal. Their tails creep me out. I don't mind them, but they're just creepy looking. So Terry says, I'm still in New York, but fixing to take a long vacation at the end of June after my last follow-up appointment with my doctors. What to camp and going to camp and just relax. Good for you, ma'am. I'm so excited for you, and I think that will be so renewing for you. I'm excited. You'll have to fill me in on your loop. If you're coming this way, you need to look us up. Keith says, and I don't agree. He says, I'm a really old guy, too dumb to use computers or how to even send photos, and live most of my life in the back locks of PNG, Australia, and New Zealand. Well, I don't think you're an old dumb guy by any stretch, at all. So we'll just live vicariously through you when you say all the neat things you're doing, because that's just so amazing. And I'm just glad you're on here and can share it with us. And don't worry, the mountain man is right there with you. If it wasn't for me teaching him how to do these things, he wouldn't know how to use his phone. So he had a dumb phone, and I made him upgrade it, because he called me one time and was livid because I texted him and it all came across as a bunch of gobbledygook, and he didn't know what I was saying, and he didn't understand why it came across like that. And that was because his dumb phone was no longer communicating with the rest of the world. It was so old. So, but keep sharing. You really, it amazes me. I'm just so awed at all the things you've done and that you know. That's just so cool. And thank you always for sharing it. Shelley says, the bad part of the gifts is that I always seem to step on the part that they do not eat in the night when the lights are out. I now check the floor with a flashlight if I get up in the night. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah. Jane says, yes, we may be able to make lemonade for you. Ah, very nice. Yes. Yes. Well, that's my game plan, is to be able to do the same, but it's going to take me a while to do that. These are little. I love lemonade. Actually, let me say that again. I love lemonade. This is how I make sure I get enough of fluid in a day. It's a little hefty to carry around, but it's helping a lot. Let me see here. Jane says, Shelley, yes, I forgot to look once in a while too. Yuck. Yeah, how about it? So Terry says, how's the cabin and the mountain man's knives going? So isn't that funny that he asked that? You want to share those? He just walked in the door.
Sure.
Okay. What were you planning to do before I flip the phone so that you don't forget?
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Okay. Why don't you do that? Was there something else you were doing so you don't forget? Okay, I was just going to retain it while you shared. So give us a second here and he'll share his new knives. Saturday. Was that Saturday or Sunday that we were at Whitland in the woodshed? Saturday, I think. I don't know. It's a blur. We were testing, I think it was Saturday. We were testing about that, guys. Another call came in. Okay, so Terry says, I'm looking forward to getting from him and seeing him on Forged in Fire. Ah, thank you for the encouragement. He would do well there. Okay, I'm going to spin this around so you guys can see him. Ah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing good.
Carol was on here, but she hasn't commented in a little while, so I don't know if she got booted off or distracted, but you can maybe grunt for her anyway.
You're there, Carl. How you doing? So, anywho, these knives are not done yet, as you can see. This one, I'm not exactly happy with how the taper is on it. I want to elongate this.
That's the one I was using,
bevel, right? Yeah. This is out of an old chipper blade from a sawmill. I chip up the wood and stuff. That's what this was out of. And this is out of a old rasp.
Show the
rasp.
Show the side, because I really like that character in it. Since it was the rasp, you can see. Can you turn it just a little? Yeah. Oh, now the glare's on it, but there.
These are the back of the rasp. The grooves in it. That's what that is.
So when he says rasp, figure a file.
Like a horseshoe rasp.
Yeah.
And then you can see somewhat, maybe, in little bits of the teeth on this side.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This one, I've always wanted to try one of these. So I made it for myself. I don't know, I'm going to try it. But it's a single bevel knife. I don't know if you can see, but it only has one bevel. It's not a double bevel like this. It just it has a flat side and then a taper.
Yeah.
But yeah, these got to get cleaned up and everything. One day I'll get me a regular
knife sander.
Knife sander.
Yeah.
And that, but right now I don't have. I just have a regular old sander. So hopefully someday I get one of them and I can really polish stuff and do stuff. But these aren't, like I said, these aren't done yet. So far they're doing pretty good. I like testing the knives and stuff. Just make sure the heat treat all went good and everything.
So that means the hardening of the knife.
Hardening the tempering.
Yeah.
Stuff. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So he's been busy and it's been fun testing them out because we were out in the woodshed for a while, whittling with them and working with them, and they were holding an edge nice. So I saw Terry said something else. He says, I need a good hunting and skinning knife that will last. That one with the double bevel, that is actually what that is being made for. So
it has this has a little different design. This here one, as you can see, it kind of drops, the blade drops down, but that's so that you can get your thumb on there.
He's got massive hands.
Cutting, and also if you're like gonna gut a deer or something, it gives you a nice finger hold,
and it's
you can,
thick.
Make your cuts.
I like that it's thick on the back too, so it really gives you something good to hang on to where his thumb is. But put your hand next to mine, because this is funny. Look at his.
Now you keep moving your hand.
I'm not trying to. I'm trying to move.
Hold your hand still.
Okay, I'm not moving. There we go. Look at Sasquatch's hands. That always cracks me up.
Your hands are just little.
I know, I'm a Lilliputian. All right. I wish. All right. So Terry, yeah, that one will be a good option. Hopefully I am still feeding here. Can you guys let me know that everything's good? Because I'm on the YouTube on my iPad and it's frozen. So hopefully you just got all that and it didn't just go to La La Land and didn't get recorded. Okay, so Terry is responding. He said that would be my hands. Well, and I said that because that way you got a good indication of how big his hands are, and that they are, how they're, even though that knife is small, it fits his hands well. And that's the key thing. A lot of people say you've got to have this massive big knife to when you're hunting and that, and that's such a myth, because the smaller knives are so much easier to operate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what size knife you're looking for, Terry. That blade there on that probably should have been a little bit longer, but it's it's probably about a 2 2.25 inch blade on that knife. I don't like a huge knife for hunting, just because you're getting in there and stuff. You don't want to be wielding a sword around inside in there when you're cutting in that.
Yeah, that's how you lose your phalanges.
But I think ideally for that knife, it'd probably been nice if it was like a 3-inch blade, 3.5, something like that. But I don't know what size blade or what you're looking for, but let me know. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so I saw you said that would be your hands, and then you did say the small hands. You don't have big hands, so his knife will fit you well. I love every knife he's made me fits my hands so nice.
Yeah, I gotta watch her. She'll take it if I'm not careful.
I've confiscated a couple already. You just can't have enough knives.
Uh-huh.
Picture the guy from Sahara. You ever watch the movie Sahara? The knives and all his clips and stuff falling out of his coat. That's Austin and I. Jane says hello, and Shelly says hello to you, Stanley.
Howdy, howdy.
Jane says she loves her neck knife. Yeah, I have some of those too, and I do like them in certain situations. Most of the time I have my knife on my hip. Shelly says you have more control with a smaller knife. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big knives hold a place sometimes, but most of my knives, what's the Genesis? That's the biggest blade I have. What is that?
It's like a
5?
No,
not even.
That's not 5.
It's not even, like a 4.
Probably like a 4, 4.5 maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and we do have, we didn't call it a machete. What did we call it?
I don't remember.
The guys did a homeschooling blacksmith class, and they made...
It's kind of like a machete, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
Mine I made that the end of the machete, it's about that long, which is roughly about 18 inches or so. And it's got more of a, the end on mine doesn't come up like a machete would. It's actually that goes the opposite way. It's more like a Viking style end on it. So
yeah, I can't remember what we called them. We gave them a funny name because of what they did with them, and I'm totally at a loss. There's a video. I'll have to look it up then. But but yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for bigger knives, but typically what we use are, I don't think there's anything. Well, do you have anything bigger than that?
No, like this one I carry around pretty much every day.
And you made me one just like it.
It's not a very big. That was out of a horseshoe rasp too. I think.
And what handle is that?
That's cherry.
Yeah.
And that blade's about 2 3/4. About yeah, 2 3/4 or so. So,
Yeah.
but this here knife. Me and a friend of mine, we were out hunting and we both shot elk, and I quartered both of those elk.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Another call.
Um, yeah, but we quartered out both of them elk, and I touched it up just a little bit on had a little stone and real quick, and nothing major, and then did it all. So you don't need a huge knife. I've gutted and quartered out elk and stuff with knives this size many times. Yeah, many times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's one I usually carry every day.
Yeah. And I have the one just like that I carry, or the coyote that I carry. That is a LT Wright knife that I was gifted with. That's also really nice. We've used that a couple times too.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice knife too.
It's got a pointed end. The coyote's got a pointed tip on it, so it's
yeah. It kind of comes like, I don't know. It's a real direct.
Yeah, it's very direct
point to it. It doesn't have like a sweeping end. It just kind of like comes straight out to a point. Like,
yeah, so it's really nice. I've used that a couple times with my deer and really like it too. So small knives you don't need a massive knife. So the small knives give you, like Shelly said, give you so much more control. So Terry says, you're the expert, so I would take your advice. Probably a 3-inch blade.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when you're ready, let us know, because he's always game. He's always game.
As far as like for doing like hunting and stuff for deer, I think a 3-inch blade is a pretty good blade. I mean,
it's a good size.
Yeah, it's a good all around size.
Yeah.
For even when you're cutting them up and stuff, it's a pretty good all around size knife.
Yeah. So. Hopefully this fall too, he'll be getting his power hammer in place. If winter, probably. Yeah. If all goes well.
Yeah. I'd like to get that knife sander going. Just trying to build one, and things just didn't go how I was hoping. So it is what it is. But I'd like to get that going, because then I could you can get buffing belts and all kinds of stuff for those, all kinds of different grits and that for those sanders. So I'd like to, I don't know, hopefully someday I get one.
You'll get it together real soon. I love it. Jane says, forget purses, but knives, yes. I know, right? Priorities. Exactly. Miss Carol says, sorry guys, Lorenzo fell out of his bed and scared himself. Bless him. He's fine. He's back in bed. I've put a spare duvet on the floor just in case. Yep, right. Well, we're glad you're back. There you go. Do it again. So
hey, Carol.
He grunted earlier for you. We weren't sure if something happened. I thought you were, I said you haven't commented in a while. I hope you didn't get dropped off. So glad he's okay. Terry says, I don't need a big knife. Let me know how much they are. Just message me and I'll send it to you. Awesome. Well, we'll get you hooked up. I'll message you later on today. Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's awesome. Jane said, glad he's okay, Carol. All right, I have one more thing to read to you guys today. And for those of you that have jumped on late, if you didn't hear the beginning of this video, I would love for you to go back and watch it, because I gave you the analogies and the reasoning behind the title of today's video. So this is called Got Plans. Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Caden, a young man of almost 18, was anticipating attending his first choice of a college on an academic scholarship. He was involved in a campus ministry in high school and looked forward to participating in a similar ministry in the new environment. He'd saved money from his part-time job and also had an excellent lead on a new job. He'd established some great goals and everything was coming together exactly on schedule. And then in spring of 2020, a global health crisis changed everything. The school let Caden know that his first semester would probably be online. The campus ministry was on hiatus. The job prospect dried up when the business closed. As he despaired, his buddy, here's a perfect example of them using a word that I didn't know. Glibly, Gibly. And until this, I had never heard of it, and I forget what it means now. I looked it up this morning. I got to look it up again real quick just to share, because that was so funny. That was one of the examples from today. Jane likes to play Scrabble. Stanley. I know. He says, that's good. An insincere or shallow way is what that means. Glibly. I just did not know what that meant. So, let's reword that. He despaired and his buddy in a shallow way quoted words from a well-known professional boxer. Yeah, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Proverbs 16 tells us that when we commit all we do to God, He'll establish our plans and work things out according to His will. True commitment, however, can be difficult. It involves an open heart to God's direction, along with a willingness to resist charting our course independently, which we also willingly and so often want to do. Dreams that don't come to fruition can bring disappointment, but our limited vision for the future can never compete with God's all-knowing ways. I love that. Dreams that don't come to fruition can bring disappointment, but our limited vision for the future can never compete with God's all-knowing ways. As we yield ourselves to Him, we can be certain that He's still lovingly directing our steps even when we don't see the path ahead. So I share that with everything that's going on, that we just continue to focus on Him. We continue to focus on Him. I forget how I worded that earlier, but when we let God in, we push out all the evil and all the filters and all the negative, So the more we seek God, the more filled up we will be and unable to take in all the crap, is I think how I put it earlier. Let me see here. Carol says, yay, mountain man. I will go back later and listen again. Keith says, I like that last one, Glenn. I grew up in the far north and trained as a fur buyer with the Hudson Bay Company, dog team in winter, freight canoe in the summer. I don't miss the cold. That is just so fabulous. I will read that to him then. Actually, I'm going to take a screenshot because I told you, we read your messages and we're just fascinated. That's so awesome. That is so awesome. His and my big dream is to get into Alaska 100 miles back in and just trap for a winter and have a huge trap line. We would be so thrilled at that. Carol says, lol, I love your terminology. Yeah, in the beginning of the thing, I gave some pretty good analogies. And I'd really like you guys to go back and listen to the beginning. Because truthfully, guys, we are all a big box of crayons. We are all of color. And we all have unique qualities and features. We all have the same opportunities. And we are meant to complement each other. So remember that. The other thing is, I don't want to be known by what I sit here and bellyache about and what I don't like. I want to be known for what I love. I want to be known for inspiring you to head that direction too. Because I really feel like God is just pushing me that way. And I feel like I know with everything that's going on in our world right now that the best thing we can do for ourselves is to focus on God, keep ourselves right with God, get ourselves right with God, stay in fellowship with him, stay in fellowship with each other, because as I said in the beginning, we need to renew ourselves. That fellowshipping and renewing of ourselves is what keeps us focused where we need to be focused. And like I said earlier, there's so much crap being shoved in our faces right now. It's hard to filter it out. But when we focus on him, you don't have to worry about filtering it out, because when we are filled with him, there's no room for anything else. There's no room for all the crap. So Jane says, Deb and I talked about this today, as I sometimes feel I shouldn't be talking of our plans to move, but we've had a few signs that we've deciphered as God's approval. Thing is, guys, though, with that, I totally hear you, Jane. I totally get that. But the thing is, too, God also wants us to plan. When we put plans into action, he helps us to align them. You know, sometimes our plans may not be in his will, but then he will align us. And that's what this was saying too today, that if we are willing to see his will and see his plan, or be redirected into his will, you know, that's the thing. And the thing is too, we can't live life not planning, because God wants us to be proactive. God wants us to be, you know, when we pray and we seek God's will and for knowledge and direction and wisdom, he will give us just that, and he will direct our paths. He will give us the inspiration we need. He will give us the things we need to keep accelerating forward. But he doesn't want us to stalemate, and he doesn't want us to be stuck in that place of complacency. So I think talking about it is perfectly okay. You know, this is one way that the mountain man and I put it, and that is, this is what we would like to do if it lines up with God's will. You know, and when we continue to seek him, we ask constantly for wisdom, direction, knowledge, and his will in our lives, because we certainly don't want to be walking it out otherwise, and I know you and your husband don't either. But that's something we need to remember, is that we can't just be sitting complacent. We need to be active, and God wants us to be active. So our prayers should be seeking him, and our desires should be, you know, we need to have our desires and our dreams in there, and we need to be seeking his will for them to all line up. And trust me, God will do that. God will do that. So let me see here. Exactly. You tell who you like, Jane. You have worked hard to get where you are today. Yep. And God will continue to line it up. God will continue to line it up. Keith says, you would do well in Alaska, Tammy. Throw that Glock away and get a 44 Colt, and watch out for the bears. Yeah, we've got the 44. I love the 44. I've actually gone elk hunting with the 44. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Yep. The Glock would only piss him off, right? That's for sure. Shelley says, you can plan all you want, but if God does not want you to go in that direction, he will put roadblocks up to show you to go another direction. When a door closes, he's always opens a window. Yep. And that's just it. You know, our plans may or may not be in his will, but he will guide us. And when we're open to his will, it's always going to be so much better than what we are anticipating. And you know, Jane, you guys have planned this. You have, I think too, though, it's not just a plan, it's something that's been on your heart. And a lot of times I feel that what we have on our hearts is something that God has placed there, and God is guiding us to seek it. You know, he does do that. So absolutely. Yep. Carol says, very true, Shelley. St. Croix Rivers to the next rendezvous. There you go. There you go. And that's just going to be so exciting. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to follow that journey with you. I still can't wait to follow it. I don't know about you, but I mean, you said you have seen God's signs and direction. And I don't know, but when you talk about it, there's just such a wholesomeness to it. So it just sounds amazing, and it sounds like it's a divine thing. Shelley said, it is very rare for you to wish for a new job for it to drop on your lap. You usually have to do the legwork like resume, etc. to get the job. You need to meet God halfway and put in some work. Yep, or do your best at the job you're at, that somebody might see you in the next, for the next job and seek you. I mean, that stuff can happen. That's why we always need to be the best we can be. They say to do things, I forget how the saying goes, but when you're by yourself, do things as if people are watching. So that meaning that you're always, I know that's not quite right, and someone else might remember it and put it in the comments, but basically that when, that we're always doing what's right, not just when people are watching us, that we're doing what's right all the time. And like I said I don't know if it was last week or in the Bible study, I kind of think it was in the Bible study that I said this, but God has called me out on a bunch of things, and one of those is just following his lead. And God can work all kinds of miracles. So when we have desires for things and we are making our best efforts in everything we are doing, he can easily gift us with something because of our steadfast efforts. He knows our hearts, he knows our desires, and that is one amazing thing. So, and we need to have those desires. We need to be active in life. Complacency is, honestly, I feel that complacency is the place of the enemy, because it allows a lot of things to set in. It allows us to be in a very neutral place. And just as the saying goes, the enemy owns the fence. So what side are you really on? And that's just it. I think that's where complacency sits. We need to be active. We need to know where we stand. We need to know what we stand for. We need to know why we stand for it. There have been some situations over the last 2 years where I've really known where I've stood on things, and I was caught very off the cuff on a couple times with people putting me on the spot to express myself on certain subjects. And I have to give God all the glory in that, because normally I don't do stuff like that. But because I know where I stand, and because I know where my loyalty lies, I had no problems answering those questions like that. So the more we know why we are fighting for things, why we are working for things, who we keep our eyes on, answering questions like that and being able to stand strong and stand tall is going to be a lot easier in every situation, whether you're asked it, whether you're in situations, whatever the case may be. So knowing where our loyalty lies in our lives, and knowing that if we allow ourselves to be full of him, there's no room for crap. I keep saying that, but I just, like I said earlier in this video, we have a lot of negative things just being shoved in our faces and down our throats lately. And there's just no way to escape it. But if we stay full and we stay fellowshipping, we are in a place where we are in a place of renewal and in a high place. And we can, with him, we can beat anything. So just remember that. So let me see here. Shelley says, always work, live, etc., as if someone is watching you. Yep, exactly. Jane says, Shelley, they are. Exactly. Exactly. But I hope this was inspiring for you guys today. I hope that this has nurtured you. I hope that the fellowshipping has renewed you. And again, I want to just encourage all of you that have not joined our community to jump on over there by going to trayerwilderness.com/community. I am working on some really awesome new things, some new classes. I am working on some new books, which are going to be published actually really soon. And I'm really excited about that. And just a lot of stuff in the works. So excited to be bringing that to you really soon. But we are going to meet again. Actually, this is the week. Wednesday, the 26th, right? Yes, the 26th. If you are part of our community, we will be Zooming at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time in the morning. So if you are not part of our community and you would like to do a community Zoom with us, this is not being fed to YouTube. This is just for the community so we can see each other face to face and fellowship some more. This is an every month thing. The last Wednesday of every month, we will Zoom. So I posted the information. It's at the top of the community page. So don't miss out this Wednesday. I will be Zooming with you guys for a while, and that way you guys can all get to see each other's face to face. And then we will be on here again, YouTube Live, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday. Bible study is Thursday night. If you're interested in that, TrayerWilderness.com/Bible Study Book Club. And Kids Corner is on Friday, TrayerWilderness.com/Kids Corner. So we'd love to have you guys join us in any of those things and have plenty of room for everybody. Jane says, always inspired to connect with you all. Hugs. Lots of hugs and prayers to you guys from Carol. Wednesday, yes, I've got a repairman scheduled. Well, to be here, but he can join in too. I was just going to say, bring him with. That's too funny. And Shelly says, I always look forward to the times we spend together. Awesome. I'm going to say a quick prayer to get us all on our way. Papa, I just thank you for this time. I thank you for the renewal. I thank you for these individuals that are watching live and all those that are watching the replay. And I just lift to you our community and just ask that you wrap your loving arms around everybody. Just be there with them, provide for their needs, comfort, and just heal their bodies. And just thank you for all you are doing in our community and outside. And just thank you that we are able to fill ourselves with you and rid ourselves of the worldly things and find the peace and comfort and that lack that so often we're looking for. So many people are looking for that joy and happiness, and they keep following these worldly pursuits and wonder why they don't feel the joy and happiness they're seeking, when what they're really looking for is a relationship with you. And I just encourage you to find those people and just touch them. But just be with our community. Be with Kelly, Mike, and Courtney, and be with Bobby. And we just lift Bobby to you. We know that you've got a plan. We know that you will bring out all evil and make the truth be seen. And I just ask that you do that soon for her. And I ask that you be with Diana and Craig, heal their bodies and touch their bodies. Be with Tammy and heal her as well. Be with Melissa and just help her with all her needs right now. Touch her body and heal her and be with her family. And just continue to be with Jane, help her to get answers. Be with Carol's daughter and just help her. And be with Shelly, help her to get answers. And just thank you so much for all you do. I lift everyone that has prayer needs to you. If I've forgotten anyone, you know their needs better than I. And I just ask that you be there for them. Just give us all a good week. Help us to keep our eyes on you. Show us your presence. And thank you for all that you're going to do for us. Thank you for the abundance you're going to provide. And thank you for the wisdom and knowledge and direction that you're going to give each of us. We love you and ask all this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, guys. I am very grateful that I get to spend this time with you guys. I am grateful that God has nudged me to do what we do. And I just wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you Wednesday and Thursday. Terry says, so glad I got to see you and Glenn and able to hear your live. So glad you joined us. I must have been like sending out vibes to you because I was really thinking of you. You were actually going to get a text message today. So I'm really grateful that you were able to join. And Keith, stay safe over there in New Zealand. And Carol, stay safe in the UK. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the Zoom on Wednesday. You guys take care. Love you all, and God bless.